Alright, that was the intro for Shadow Empire. Todd Bog here with Breaking the Stream. This is a new Let's Play that I'm going to be putting up on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So hopefully you guys can get a taste for the game and see what it's about. Now the visuals may seem like 90s era, 2000s era visuals. However, what you're going to find beneath those visuals is a very solid game about world conquest with a lot of details and everything like that. So I'm really looking forward to playing this. When they basically launched on Steam, I believe it was last week, I took a look at it and I put it on my wish list thinking, you know, it's going to be a while before I get to it because of Cyberpunk, but I just couldn't stay away from it, so that's what I'm here for. So we're going to go through, first let me set some preferences here. Go ahead and bring these down a little bit. If I could get the interface to go. There we go. 33 will be just fine. Okay. That way we don't overwhelm ourselves with some of the music and stuff in the game. Alright, so Shadow Empire is set in the far future, as you might have seen in that intro. And in that far future, you know, we built this great galactic empire, and then it all started to fall apart. And if you read the manual, you'll see a lot of the backstory and stuff of the Empire. But essentially, we play the remnants on a planet, and we've gone through some rough times, but we've come through as a civilization, and we're basically aiming to take control of our planet once more and bring it under our rule. Unfortunately, we're not the only ones with those ideas, or maybe fortunately, since you know, obviously we're here to have conflict and fun. But we're going to take over the world, as it were, and we get to do that through this interface. So we'll go ahead and start a new game. And the way the game starts is you basically have to design your planet first, and then you'll make some choices for your scenario or for your particular civilization. And then once all that is completed, you actually jump into the game proper. So first step you have is the planetary class. You get all sorts of different choices, how large of a planet you want to go. So we're going to go with the small. With the caveat that it's small to normal sized, normal to large sized, large to super sized. So we're going to go with the smaller planet. And then we have all these different planets here from unclassified, where if you hover over, you'll get the tooltip. It could be anything. You've got your standard desert planet. You got ice planets. You've got this right here, which is not quite a desert planet. So they have a little more water, but they're not exactly much better. You have your lava planet. These are your more Earth-class planets, but water is a little more limited. So there'll be some open water and everything like that. And then there may be a chance of alien biology. You have your Medusa class, which are basically going to contain hostile alien biology most of the time. And they'll have water and rainfall. Planetoid, which is basically barren rock, and then your moon class. So I think for the interesting, we'll go with Medusa class. And this is your history, so you have options to modify your history of the planet. So Haven of Calm means that you were pretty lucky during the war, and some of the Havens of Peace survived during the worst of the Dissolution War. You get Survival Stress, which gives you defragmentation. So basically you're going to have a lot more AI factions. And AI factions fall in either majors like us or minors, and there are going to be a lot more minors than majors. So, and kind of how you play against them differs greatly. So, and then you can choose all these different things, and you can toggle them all if you want, if you wanted to do so. In this case, we're going to go ahead and do the Haven of Calm, and then I think that is the only one we're going to do for now. If you want a bigger challenge, you can definitely put on a Nemesis, which gets one AI major and gets a big head start. So only select this if you're in for a challenge. Robinson Crusoe makes it so there's no other majors, but if you select Robinson Crusoe with Nemesis, there will be the one AI major will be the Nemesis. So it's really cool to kind of tweak these and get some different things going. But we're going to go ahead and continue. You have your generation settings. So there's a lot of different things that can occur. We're going to keep it on the defaults for all of it. Detailed planet, complete, one human player, city start. We'll go over what that means later. Militia only. We're going to go with a regular difficulty instead of beginner. I did play a couple test games, but I'm going to pretty much be learning with you guys, so it'll be interesting. Organization and development speed. So everything looks good here, and we'll go into details on those things as we go. Planetology. So this is kind of where it randomly generates it. So right now I've got a planet that is 0.22 gravity. Temperature is 4 degrees Celsius, so I'm a bit on the cold side, close to freezing. And you get the map size here. So you can see there's tilt, which affects your seasons and things like that. So not bad, but let's hit the reroll and see what we get. A little higher on the temperature. That's a more average temperature. A younger planet, more tilt, so seasons will be going. And then a little bit more gravity. Yeah, let's reroll again. Just kind of see what we get, just to show you a different variations. Your choice of primary class will definitely affect a lot of this as well, so your ranges that you can roll are different. So overall, as you can see, not a wide variation. It doesn't look like we're going to get heavy gravity either way. So yeah, we'll just stick with what we've got here. So just a slight tilt. All right. And it does a lot of calculations, and based on those calculations, it determines where your water is. So as you can see, we have 8% of the planet is ocean, 77% are plains, and 15% are mountainous. And you can see your temperatures at the tropics. It's going to go into a very hardy 41 degrees Celsius in the tropics during the winter. And as you can see, it's just hot overall. And in the Arctic, it's going to be below freezing, and Antarctic as well. So right around the equator, it's going to be extremely hot, so we'll need to make sure to factor that in. Wind speed, very low, but rainfall, 286 millimeters per year, so it's a pretty good rainfall. All right, this is your biosphere, so this one I may re-roll depending. So let's see, we've got nothing but xenon in the atmosphere. So based on that, it's basically super hazardous for humans. The xenobiology are deadly. We can't do any atmospheric farming, so I think I'm going to re-roll here. And you can see it redoes all the calculations. So we got toxic, which isn't as bad. We got a medium farming hazard, so it's going to be a reduction in farming, but I'm going to re-roll. Just because there's a lot of extra complications if you don't have closer to human type thing, atmosphere. So this one's still bad for humans. However, the farming wouldn't be affected by it. As you can see, it's got some O2 and N2, but let's hit reroll one more time. All right. So I guess we'll go with this. So we got a lot of nitrous, O2, argon, nitrogen, and sulfuric oxide. So let's see. Yep. So all right, we'll go with this. Top of the evolution life form is a mini sponge, an aquatic small herbivore. Resembles a sponge analog. Its chemistry is water peroxide mixture, carbon based, and is oxygen breathing. So still insidious to humans, so we can't go out without some sort of protective gear. But we can still farm outside, no problem. So, all right, and then this is kind of where your population starts. So we had 6.4 million people prior to the war, which was 90% agricultural, 3% mining, and 7% service. 11 zones were populated, and then you can see we had a penal colony that was put on the planet. We managed to create a plant-based drug with demand. Farmers started an agricultural school. High birth rate for several generations. Decided to extend the penal colony to take more exiles. Underground cavern system for xenomushrooms. And an idyllic commune from the core worlds decided to settle. And then a mining company shows interest in the planet. So that's where our mining economy came in. It was colonized in the year 6991. All right. And now we're doing the Dissolution War. So after the Dissolution War, we lost all but basically 500,000 survivors were left. Of those survivors, 31% are scavengers, 27% raiders, and 42% farmers. So over 2 million soldiers and civilians perished in the merciless battlefields. Nuclear fallout claimed the lives of many. After planetary governments disintegrated, the anarchy and technology loss did not help in making the population food self-sufficient again. Whatever remnants were left were destroyed by structural starvation. It's an estimate the total loss of life due to the dissolution war and its long multi-generational aftermath that claimed over 6 million lives. 227 years have passed since the war. Over the long aftermath or Dark Ages decade that followed the total collapse of population level has been under continued stress. And you can kind of see the history. The dissolution war as it started, major companies evac their high-tech from the planet. Local reformers tried to storm the planetary senate. Conflict between these two escalated, resulting in exchange of atomic missiles. Heavy conventional army clashes between reformists and loyalists. Planetary government ceased functioning. Warlords everywhere declare independence. A powerful raider clan decided to set an example and kill all their enemies in Emania. Enemies of Redalia have nuked it. An unknown and extremely virulent disease wiped out Zabaria. Out of nowhere, a giant unmanned spaceship crashed on Emania. Enemies of Redalia have nuked it, and Redalia got nuked twice in the span of 53 years. A religious cult briefly takes prominence and uses nuclear weapons to destroy Zabaria and Zebarar. Okay, so Zabaria. Okay, so some history, and you'll probably run across these as we go through. But that's the apocalypse, so we'll go ahead and hit continue. And this is kind of a summation, so we'll go ahead and start our game here. Okay. So now we're going to go into the actual civilization building part of it. A few simple questions. Get your name. So we're going to change our name here. Tonalis. Alright. We'll change our leader title. We'll call ourselves Archon. You can put whatever you want in these, though. So long as you follow it. You can follow different designs. I like the block design. And then I typically choose red and blue. And the blue will be my unit color, so that's what we'll see on the map. And then for my icon, I'll go with the not Imperial Eagle, for those of you who play 40k. Alright, the great cities were destroyed in the Dissolution War. The remainder of humanity dispersed in the wastelands, hiding, scavenging, fighting, trying to scrape out a living, trying to survive. The forefathers of our land were among them. Starvation and structural lack of foodstuff was the biggest enemy. There were less food than people to feed. How did your ancestors manage to avoid chaos and anarchy in their community? So you have three choices here, and they will change what your government type is. Or I should say they will establish what your government type is. So you can choose enforcement by shooting anyone that protested starvation, by promising technological breakthroughs to give hope, that gives you government, or by sacrificing the old to save the young, commerce. That's a tough one on a personal level, but normally I would go with the promise of hope, but we're going to go with enforcement, so we're going to do shooting anyone that protested starvation. The predecessor entity of our land managed to knit their people into a tight and coherent group. How did they manage to do this? So they could either swear sacred oaths of loyalty, wrote a book of law and enforced it strongly, or they did many great deeds that inspired awe and loyalty. So, and heart, mind, and fist are... So the way they do it is they're done as a trifecta, so these are each three parts of one whole. And so whichever one is the highest gives you certain benefits, if it remains the highest throughout. And then gains in one will lead to a decrease in another in a limited fashion. So for our playthrough, I think we're going to go with Fist, which means we're going to be a little more aggressive for sure. So at around the time your father was born, a rebellion took place against leaders and principles of our land. It was a rebellion against the authoritarian and dictatorial... Why can't I say that? Dictatorial leader, okay? Or against the corruption and lack of progress, or against the softness and indecision of their leaders. So either democracy, autocracy, or we get the middle, which is meritocracy. We'll go with a democracy. Normally I like meritocracy for games like this, but we'll do that. So round one, we suffer no losses. So you'll see 2 decisions, 56 reports waiting for you. In this case, it'll do their combat, and we'll do that when we get to the turn. So now this is special events, and these can be different each round. So Previous Archons now buried, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. So this is your introduction to what's going on. It's now up to you to lead the land to victory. You are the Archon of Tonalis. Some subjects cheer your ascension, but not all. You'll have to hail and address the land as soon as possible. A new zeitgeist wanders through the land. We're entering a time of efficiency. So this is actually one of the events, and it's kind of different each time you do it, and each one will give you a certain benefit that continues to grow until it hits its maximum, and then it'll start slowly descend after the effect is done. So the effect is your public industrial assets will get a production bonus. The current strength of this effect is light, 7. You gain 700 public economy bonus points. In 6 turns, the effect of the time of efficient will come into full force. So we got some economy to take advantage of. And then this is something you get here, which are called fate stratagems. Fate points, which aren't shown yet, are something you earn as you start advancing your civilization. You improve your civilization score, you improve your population, things like that. You'll earn those, and they're rare. So these are pretty powerful little cards that you can play to improve or do something special. Excuse me. So we have this one here, Paranoia, which gives you 2 fate points, but there's a detriment to it. So when you do that, you'll have an effect. You have these 3 here, Propaganda Assistant, Labor Day, and Traveling Teachers. You don't see what they do from this screen, but you can see them in your stratagem screen, so we'll go over that. But and then here are stratagems that you generate, and you use political power to utilize. So this allows you to get new leaders, spy on your neighbors, and then this has a policy because there's a cult in our particular zone. So, and that'll be it for the stratagems. So at the start, you'll have the decisions, and these decisions represent things that you can do, and that will have an effect on your empire. So we'll go ahead and take a look at this. These represent the different choices we made. So we have Fist, we have Enforcement, and Democracy are 3 primaries, and I'll go over kind of what that means later. But first, we have our Ascension speech. Everyone is eagerly awaiting your Ascension speech. For most of the people and leaders of Tonalis, you're still unknown. They need to know what you plan to do with your newly gained power. The question on everybody's lips is, who will suffer under your reign? Which political profile will you champion in your speech? So basically, we could do Autocracy. If we do, our field commander of the Strategic HQ will really dislike that. He's a member of the Equality Party. So he'll lose 14 relationship with us, which could be really tough. He's currently at 69. That's pretty cool. But that would give us 14 Autocracy, so that we would then bump our Autocracy score. We can continue with our push on Democracy, which would be something he would favor. And then Meritocracy is favored by one of our advisors here. And so they'll give you their choices and their things, and you have to make a decision. It costs you political power, of which I have 16 right now, to make those choices. You could choose not to do so, in which case your secretary will make that decision. But it may not be the decision you want, but it would save you the power, or political power. So in this case, though, we're going to continue our bump for Democracy, and I'll kind of explain that in just a sec here. Just giving you this. If you want to read through it, feel free to pause here, and you can kind of read through some of the benefits that you get with that, but we'll go into that in more detail. So we're going to hit B.
Roger that.
All right, you've given your speech. You made it clear your sympathies lie with the masses and the old Republican values. Your vision of a reborn republic left the masses in awe. So Fonzie Ionmate, commander of the first SHQ, plus 4 points. Profile Democracy, plus 11. So that should be reflected here now, 59. Okay. Now, new organization. So the way the game is designed around, you have your Supreme Council, which is your starting, and they give you access, as you saw in the beginning, to certain stratagems, and they'll give you access to other benefits. However, it's a very broad organization, and it's less efficient than these more specific organizations. Each of them have different stratagems they bring to bear, and they offer certain benefits that you only get if you have these. They cost political power to start up, and then after that, they'll cost bureaucracy in order to maintain. But they can provide some very powerful things. So in this case, I'm going to go for an economic council.
Roger that.
So basically, that'll get me an economic council up and running, which will allow me to do basic tech research, among other things as well. So, and then up here is basically your tutorials. So they're basically telling you kind of what you want to do on your first turn. Move some units out and don't worry too much. Press the end turn button when you made your moves. And danger in Gerada is 7 points. That just means that basically our city is too close to enemy units, and we need to get some space by conquering hexes. So we'll go ahead and dismiss that for now. Okay. So this is your basic interface. As you can see, we started at the edge of the map, so we're at the far south region here. Okay. So what we have here is our city. We have different things here. So this is, assets. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Okay. Well, this right here is ruins. You can see the information here, and it gives you all the breakdown of what it costs to move there, all that stuff. But these ruins here can be useful in finding new items and things like that. As you can see, there's ruins, the Monroe and Nopasilo are both there. Let's see. Yep, so those are ruins there. And you can see kind of what they have there. Let me go to inspect mode. Zone, assets. Okay, there we go, assets. So these squares on the map also represent that they are free folk settlement. So free folk are basically living in these zones. These zones are about 200 kilometers wide for scale, so they're just spread out. It's not like they're a major population center or anything like that. But these free folk are going to live and protect themselves and live amongst themselves and everything like that. They'll participate in your economy a little bit. But if your city is doing well and the people are happy and fed, then these people will slowly immigrate from their lands to our city center, giving us more population with which to do things. So going through and bringing them into the fold will provide some benefits and everything like that. Otherwise, you can see different terrain. We're on forest here, which have a bit of a movement penalty, and then we have our armies here. So as you can see, we have basically, you can click through like this and just see each one individually. And then this is your strategic HQ. So this one isn't a military unit, but it's utilized for certain things to control your armies and things like that. So, or I should say supply your armies. So this game's got a pretty nice logistical side to it. So there's a lot to take into account. But your armies are made up of stacks of troops, typically in counts of 100. So your militia here, I've got this stack has got a 6. That means there's 600 troops there. 500 are riflemen and 100 are machine gunners. Militia are provided for free, technically, and then based on your militancy score, basically you'll get more recruits possibly, or you could get additional. So like if I go to enforcement, as you can see, I can get discipline, which allows me to get a benefit to the militia and everything like that. So they're a free force. You don't ever have to replenish their troops. They get replenished automatically based on your militancy and other decisions that you make and everything like that. So you'll want to eventually get some of your own regular troops going because these militia forces aren't as good as your regular troops, but they are highly effective in the very beginning game. So, and then as you can see, they've got rifle militia. This one's got trucks, so it's a mechanized force, artillery and buggies. This one's, again, just another stack. This one's another mobile stack. And then we should have, yep, so that's pretty much what we have. And then the white border obviously represents our territory. As we move troops out, we'll take over territory that's currently claimed by others. Because it's uncertain what our relationship is with them. So we'll go to strategic map. And right now we don't know who owns this land because we don't know who's out there. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to start moving out to these areas here. So we're going to start with this force here. And this represents where we can move. So when I move here, as you can see, I take over that zone there. And there. So... And this truck here will also move this way. Oh, we've got some forces here Free Folk Marauders, so these are independents. And so right now we're showing 28 as the unit size. That could be correct. That could also be incorrect. And let's see. We'll show it as an attack here. If we were to do an attack, it has the estimateds. So we got 700 infantry that we have, 20 guns, 90 motorized, and 20 tanks, going against 2,800 defenders. But as you can see, our recon points are 62 out of 400, so we could have, they could have more, they could have less. More than likely they have less. I don't think they have that many. But the only way to find out for sure is to get more scouting in, so that's what we're going to do. And it does look like they may have that many, which would be unfortunate. So over here, we're going to go ahead and move out this way and take more of these hexes. As you can see, they're now expanding. These were all done one by one because the enemy has a zone of control around here. So that may be an unfortunate thing with these population centers here. But you want to kind of grab what you can and find any resources that are out there. So we moved our units around. We've made our decisions, so those are good. Now they have reports, but all these reports are pretty much standard reports. So you could go through and you can look at your leaders, cabinets, faction overview, and all that stuff here. We'll get into that more as we come up on it, but for the time being, we've done that. I want to take a look at our stratagems. So basically with this, I could send a spy, but I don't have any targets currently. Let's see, non-aligned forces. Oh, I do see the underground archive. Yeah, let's go ahead and try and do that.
Yes, sir.
So because I'll go through this roll here. Difficulty was 44. We rolled 108. So we roll a D100. Basically a random number from 1 to 100 gets added to our skill, which in this case is 34, based on the commander that is doing. So basically we rolled the D100, added 34, and we got 108. Our target number was 44, so we had a pretty good chance of doing this. So we've completed that, so we'll now have some more intel on that faction next turn. Here you can see what happens with these cards now. So like we said, Paranoia, it looks like you get just the 2 fate points, but when you hover over it, you'll see that you'll get an increase in fear, which will affect your population's happiness and things like that. So that's definitely a big negative, but that's the reason why you get it. I can recruit a junior officer, which gives me a new leader, but obviously unskilled, or I can spend a lot more points and get a moderately effective general with that stratagem. And then Labor Day, worker happiness just increases by 3d10, so that's pretty cool. And traveling teachers, extra level of school, so this upgrades a school for 2 fate points. And then we've got the propaganda assistant, and it gives a selected leader plus 10 to charisma based rolls. So those are some of the things we can do, and we can of course increase and decrease taxes as well. But right now I don't want to do any of those. I'm going to continue to save up on my political points. And so that is pretty much going to be my turn, I believe. Just double check here. Oh yeah, I got to click on the zone to get information on the resources. So these are your resources. Right now we got plenty of food. Excuse me. So currently we've got plenty of food. We got plenty of our other resources. Looks like water is going to be a little bit more of a pain right now, but we can find ways to get more. And then metal production and energy. So it looks like we're doing good on all those. These are recruits, so that's something that I kind of want to take care of. So I'm going to call my governor, and we're going to give zone orders here. Cost me 2 political points, but what we're going to do is we're going to up our maximum recruits, because I want to build an army early so I can take over territory. And then you can actually change different things, worker salary, which will improve worker morale, things like that. So right now that's pretty much the only thing I want to do, and I want to change the zone name. We're going to go with Alpha for now. because you can get a number of zones and it might get confusing. This will let me know that this is the first zone that I have, so that we don't have to worry about remembering a bunch of different names. Alright, so that done, we're going to go ahead and hit end turn. The first turn is usually pretty quick, and then we'll go over into more of the systems as we go. And right now we're going to see the AI. There's a lot of them, so they basically just go through and do their steps one by one, and then anything that we see on the map will show up on the map as steps, so we can actually rewind through it and kind of figure out what the AI did. As you can see, the weather there did some moving, and then the enemy has looks like they attacked us, so we'll go ahead and go through that. Your militia forces hold a parade to show their strength and loyalty. Awesome. We're entering a time of efficiency, so this is the same thing. We're now at a 1,400 public economy bonus points. And then basically it's talking about the need for expansion. So, and regimes that we're at war with or we have unclear relations with are ones we can take territory from. And then at the start of the turn we had 5,000 militia troops but no regulars. It would be a good idea to use our recruits to raise some troop formations. So we did raise up some additional recruits there. So what happened here? History. Okay, let's see. So it looks like they attacked and they took 200 losses. They did start with 2,400 troops. So they do have 2,400 troops. Well, now 2,200 troops. Unit appears. Okay, so I got a brand new unit. That's pretty neat. I don't know why though. Oh, let's see. Okay, so we can go back to the map here. All right, so I got a new unit here near Frigga, Spain, huh? Or Span. Let's see, what is it? Just 500 rifle militia. Okay. So we'll go ahead and. Oh, at Engine Industries. Okay. So let's see what assets we have here. Small degraded AF. What the ancients considered small is actually extremely humongous for our times. The problem is this automated factory spanning several square kilometers is in ruins and severely degraded. However, it has some minor systems operational and sizable production capability. So it's got a IP plus 80, so industry points plus 80. It's a hex perk, so we get that so long as we have it connected, so we have to work on connecting. So we'll do that this way. And as you can see, we're taking these territories as well, so that means this unit here should probably work to connect the two. Let's see, is that a zone line? Let's see. Are you your own zone? Okay, well, we'll worry about that in just a bit. So right here we've got a sizable enemy force, which we're going to deal with in time here. It's like, okay. So we're going to have to deal with this force here. And I think we can do it by declaring war on them if we wanted to. And I think we're going to do that, so let's see. So right now, if I attack with just this, we got a 1.5 to 1 odds based on the data that we have, which isn't very good. But we're going to bump that up by attacking from 3 sides with a sizable force here. And we should outnumber them. And you'll get to see the attack interface. So basically, we show all our units over here, and then as we fight, we'll lose units, they'll flee. And as you can see, they're doing some serious damage there, unfortunately.
Negative to breach.
All right. So overall, we ended up running out of AP, and this battalion actually retreated. But we managed to kill a couple of their troops. If I can get this to trigger. There we go. 6 retreated, and 2 were lost. So overall, that wasn't a very good attack, unfortunately. So we'll have to do some more to take that out. But that does eat up their forces here. So our forces are done. So we're going to need to get some additional units in order to take on these forces. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to use Alpha Zone. We're going to raise formation. And here you can raise all the different types of armies that you want. So you can see, if we go here, this is the largest, 62,000 infantry, or different variations of it. And they're raised up as these units here. And you can see the resources it takes. We don't have anywhere near those. We have 3,400 total. At best, we could try and do a brigade, and we would get a underforced brigade or undersized brigade right now because we don't have the 30 or 5,500 infantry. But this would get us a light infantry brigade, or we can go with the machine gunners here, which gives us, if I remember correctly, it's divided among the 5, so it would give us 900 or 800 and 200 or something like that. No, 900 and 200 total for the forces, and each of them will be equal. But what we're going to do instead is we're going to just do independent for now, so that we can raise a couple. And what I want is, with the troops that I have, let's see, which ones do I want? With the amount of resources we have, I'll go with this one. This will give us a motorized brigade, which we can't do right now because we don't have the logistics for it. Interesting. Okay, probably because we don't have the ability to make those. So I bet you if I go with regular infantry, nope, no logistics. Wonder what's going on there. Oh, because of where I'm clicking maybe? Alright, so let's try it here. Okay, so if I go with the motorized infantry, I can now raise formation. So yeah, they cost troops, they cost items, which are basically resources. And in this case, it's going to take up almost all our industrial, which I may not want to do. So let's go ahead and just do the regular infantry. Do that. That only takes 30, so I can raise that. And that'll get us 1,000 troopers right away. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. Independent. Let's see. That takes a lot of resources, huh? Alright. So yeah, we'll go ahead and do another formation here. And we can do one more. Not the most efficient, but they'll allow us to get more troops in there. Right now, when the troops do come in, though, they are untrained, so they have 0 XP, and they're still working on getting themselves trained up. So you can take a look at the troop quality. Readiness will go up eventually, and they'll be more effective fighters. So it'll take a little while before they get done. So recruiting them is important now. And that's all done. We have decisions to make, so let's go ahead. So the militia parade. Ask your militia paraded through the streets. I understand you were present at the parade and gave thanks to our militia troops in person, but maybe there's something more you'd like to do. It's been long customary for the militia to receive some extra monetary allocations from time to time. This would be a good moment just after their parade. So we have 526 bucks or credits. So I kind of need to support my militia right now. So we're going to give them the 200 credits for reward for their service, and it'll make our advisor happy here. So, and we'll get +10 to our militia score. So we'll do that. Adventurers discover a special location. We received a radio contact from Hex 6443, which we'll find. A private expedition by some of our people has established control over this special hex. They're requesting that we help them hold on to it. So we've got to find out where 6443 is. Nope. Okay, so 64 and 43. Engine Industries. Okay. So do we make a public commitment that the hex can be held? So we can reduce heart and gain enforcement, and I think that's what we're going to do. I'll show you kind of why here. So you get regime bonuses depending on your level of a particular thing. So right now, at our current level, once we hit 3 turns at 40 or more, we're going to get a 50% boost to our taxes, and we'll get additional stratagems and unit feats that you can only get if you have the regime feat there. And at 50, which is what we'll get when we get that +6 enforcement, we get a logistical bonus so we can supply our troops at a further distance, which we'll get into in a future video. And then we get additional stratagems. So I think that's what we want to do. So we'll go ahead and hit no here.
Yes, sir.
So -1 to our heart. So our heart is going to go down. Well, it'll go down, and then we get +6 to enforcement. So this heart is now down here, which is fine because we're doing fist. And then we have an allocation since we now opened up the Economic Council. We've got this here. I think leaving it at 1/3 will be just fine and keep our Supreme Council budgeted. This is related to bureaucracy points that we generate. So we'll go ahead and confirm that.
Roger that.
All right. And then we need a new director. So right now we've got Anna Venusian. Appears to be suitable. Suitable rating 18. Not the best. Not the worst. And so right now we can appoint her. It's better to have a bad director than no director, because no director ends up causing a 50% malice. So go ahead and appoint her.
Sir.
And then by doing so, we improve relations, and then we get a benefit since she's a senior member of my council. So she gives an effect on relations with other leaders because we've rewarded seniority. So, and then these are our priorities. So we've got discovery, which allows us to find the technology that we want to research, and then research, which is actually researching those technologies. Then we have prospecting, where we look for resources within our new areas, and then economic policies. This is the stratagem cards. So I'm happy with a full split right now. And so that is all our decisions. So, all right. So that was a very slow 2 turns because we're learning a lot. But you will find that it'll start picking up turn-wise as we get into more and more of these conflicts. So we'll continue this in my next video on Thursday. So with this, I hope you guys enjoyed what we see. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe if you're enjoying this. And if you're interested in the game, it had just hit Steam just last week. So it's something that you can pick up if you're learning from me and you decide you want to take it for a spin yourself. So with that, I will bid you guys adieu.